Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to 10 shocks of visiting England. This is from Walter's World. Make sure you guys show him some support. Hit that like button on my channel, hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into this. Hopefully I'll be visiting England soon.
Hey there fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in windy England here in London. And today what we have for you are the 10 things that might shock a tourist when they do come here to England. And the first thing that shocks tourists is the English, they really mind their P's and Q's. I mean, they are very polite. You'll hear sorry, please, thank you so many times. You'll understand when people say, I hope my little boy grows up to be an English gentleman, because they do have manners here. No, not everybody has manners, but you'll be surprised how much the politeness really comes in, whether you're talking to the police, or you're talking to the people that work in tourism, or just normal everyday people. The pleases, the sorries, to bump into people. Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, excuse me, sir. It does kind of shock people with how polite they are. And with those P's and Q's, so P's the politeness, and Q is the Q's here, okay? You'll be shocked with how people really stand in line very well here, and nobody jumps or line jumps or butts in line, because that is totally not a cool thing to do here in England. So that's the first thing that shocks people, how they mind their P's and their Q's, okay? Now the second thing that kind of shocks tourists,
I won't be cutting lines.
You might actually like the food. I know, it's like I'm being sacrilegious here, saying you might like English food, but hear me out. They actually have some pretty good stuff when you are here. And it's
breakfast right there.
But you'll be surprised how many like the foods you do have here you might really like when you sit down and have that English breakfast with eggs and beans and toast and sausages, you know, bangers and stuff like that. It is such a good thing. Or when you go to the pubs and you go have a pub grub there, you know, have the Sunday roast or go have a good beef burger or steak and kidney pie. There is actually a lot of good foods that are here. Fish and chips is an experience you should have. The chocolates, oh, Cadbury, come on, you can't compare American chocolate to British chocolate, English chocolate. It's two different worlds, and that kind of shocks people. They go, you know what? I actually had some food I liked here. I know, it sounds crazy. That's why it's the second thing that'll shock you. The third thing that'll shock you about England is how much the weather does actually...
Yo, actually, I gotta say this. People think you guys have disgusting food. Like, everyone I know has been like, oh, food in the UK is terrible, or something like that. I'm like, hey, bro, you must not have had that Cadbury yet.
Thing that'll shock you. The third thing that'll shock you about England is how much the weather does actually kind of suck sometimes. No, it's not raining every day. Obviously, I'm here in beautiful sunny London. I mean, who says that? Beautiful sunny London? Yes, they do have sun here, and you do get to go outside when it's not pouring rain. But a lot of times it does rain here. I've been here where it's raining like horizontally and getting soaking wet and all kinds of stuff.
Probably.
So when you do come, just be prepared, because you know what? You might get a great day like this, or you might just get rain for the entire time you're here. So make sure you bring your rain jacket when you come to be prepared for the weather. And if you don't want to bring something, there's people selling umbrellas when it is a rainstorm, so you'll be okay. But just know, usually the weather kind of sucks sometimes. Not all the time though. Now, the fourth thing that shocks tourists when they come here is how much the pub is kind of a focal point of a lot of people's lives here. I mean, if you go to small towns, the pub is like the center where things go on, where you watch the football match.
I wish we had that.
Your Sunday roast, you go get a pint and talk about work and life and the family, and how much the pub really is a quintessential part of an English experience. So make sure you do go there and have maybe some of those foods you like, or have an ale that the guy literally is cranking out for you. And it really is a part of everyday life here in England. And that's what's cool. It's like, you know, you think about the US, oh, I'm going to the bar, or I'm going to a bar. But here I'm going to the pub, and it means something more. And that shocks tourists when they think, oh, it's just a bar. No, pub is so much more than that. So you can have your Sunday roast with the family, or a pint with your pals and things like that. And the pub crawls and all these things that can go with it. It is really cool, and it shocks people how important pubs really are to English culture. Now,
yeah, see, that's something I hadn't quite distinguished myself. So I just learned that just now. Like, I never thought it was, you know, that much big of a difference between a bar in America and a pub, but there's a wow. That's very true.
The thing that'll shock you about England, which is kind of weird that I'm doing it here in London, is England is not just London. I know so many people that come to London and they say, oh, I've seen England, or they say, I've seen Europe. Look, England and Europe, in that matter, is way more than London. London is an international city with all kinds of amazing things to do and see, but the country itself has tons of other things out there. The natural beauty and the things to see and the history is fantastic. So you'll be shocked that there's more to England than London. So get out there. And that's why it leads into the sixth thing that's going to shock you. When you come to England and you get outside of the
public transport,
this country is actually beautiful. Go through Kent and the gardens of Kent, or go to the Peak District or the Lake District. Go up to Yorkshire and see York. I mean, this country is gorgeous, and you want to go out there and go explore it. And that's what's really cool is, look, it's not just London. And when you get outside of London, the countryside and the towns and the villages really are beautiful things to see. So exploring that countryside leads us into the seventh thing that's going to shock you when you do come to England, and that is when you rent a car and your first roundabout. I'm not gonna lie to you, the first time I took a roundabout, I'm like, oh my God, first off, they drive on the left side of the road, okay? So make sure when you cross the street, you look right, otherwise you're gonna get smashed, okay? But the thing is, when you get that first roundabout, there's like 2 lanes and 2 lanes, you're like, okay, I've gotta go right, so I gotta go around the roundabout and then come off this way, and you're like, oh my God. And once you do that first roundabout and you're like, okay, where do I turn in, where do I turn about, all these things, it will shock you into a heart attack, okay? And then after you do that, you'll realize when you watch European Vacation, National Lampoon's European Vacation, and you see Chevy Chase going around, the Griswolds going around the circle. Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament. Look, kids, Big Parliament. For like 6 hours, you start to understand, because seriously, renting a car and driving on the other side of the road is shocking in of itself. But when you get that first roundabout, you're like, oh God, I'm gonna die, okay? Now, the eighth thing that's going to shock you is when you do travel around, you actually can see Downton Abbey type houses, the stately homes, the stately manor houses, and the country homes and stuff like that. You can go visit those, and it's cool because a lot of people, oh, it's a set piece, or it's CGI or something like that. No, these are real homes that you can go to.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can go to the Cotswolds and see the houses there. You can go around and see these stately homes.
I want to visit, man.
Of them. Go to the gardens, have lunch there, have a picnic there, see all these things, and it's cool because you get shocked. You're like, wow, you can see that old Downton Abbey kind of things here, that old England. It's not just in the textbooks anymore. It is out there in the country, and that's one of the best things. The National Trust, they have all kinds of homes you can go stay at. I mean, you can stay at them. Literally, I guess one thing I'd say with that Downton Abbey kind of thing is you can have some of those true Englishisms here, staying at an old house, an old, stately manor.
Or a cottage.
Or what you do with the National Trust, they have all these homes. You can stay in a home that's 1,000 years old and enjoy that there. And that's what's so cool is you can get the history of England in these homes and to get that kind of Downton Abbey feel. I know that this show's been off the air for a while now, but it does have one of those things that shocks tourists. It's that, wow, I really get to enjoy those kind of things. Now, I will say, you get to see the Downton Abbey homes and stuff like that. The Downton Abbey acting and stuff like that, yes, people still have good manners here, but it's not like Downton Abbey anymore. I'll tell you what, just go to the pub on Friday night or Saturday during the soccer football match. You'll understand what I mean. Now,
some of you boys get rowdy out there, huh?
Here to England is the cops don't have guns. You know, in the U.S., they've always got a gun on the side, no matter what.
Oh, in the U.S., not just the cops have guns. Your grandma has a gun.
But here, most of the cops, the bobbies, they don't carry guns, okay? And the thing is, the cops here are super friendly as well. So it's kind of like...
They're like tour guys, right?
Security, but it's almost like they're also there for tourist help.
I mean,
it's pretty funny because I know there's been many times when I'm like, okay, which way do I need to go to Notting Hill? Or I'm in York. Hey, how do I get to the church?
Don't ask guards, though.
Where's the best place to go have tea and crumpets? And the police officers, male and female, they're like, oh, go down there 3 blocks to the left, you're going to see this thing. And they're super great, but it does shock people when they see the cops, but they don't have any guns. Now, there are some cops with guns, yes, but it is kind of a shocking thing if you're coming from the U.S. or South America and stuff like that, to be like, hey, it's a cop, and he's got
no gun.
Talkie. Huh,
taser.
But it is cool, and they are super friendly, which is super nice. And the 10th thing that shocks tourists when they're here is when they realize that Britain and England are not the same thing. England is a part of Britain, okay? It's called the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So obviously Northern Ireland's separate, Great Britain, that's England and Scotland and Wales. And that's the thing is, if you meet a Scotsman or a Welshman and you say, oh, you're English, they're going to be insulted because no, England is a different country. But they'll be okay if you say they're British because there are a lot of differences between...
I feel like if you called a Scotsman British, Scotsman, is that right? A Scottish person British. Low-key, I think you would get mad. I think it's better just to call them Scottish because that's what comes first, right? Let me know if that's correct. If you think you agree with that.
Country, but they'll be okay if you say they're
Like, would you get mad if I said,
because
"Oh, you're
there are
British,"
a lot of differences
when you're from
between
Scotland
going to England
or Wales?
and going to Wales and going to Scotland, whether it's the accent or even a different language they may speak there, the food and things like that. I mean, the pub culture pretty much stays in all those places, but there really is a difference. And just remember, you'll be shocked that England is not Britain, okay? It's two different ideas. Anyway, those are just 10 things that might shock you if you're coming to England on tourism or travel or vacation or fun. What are some of the things that shocked you about coming to England? Please put it in the comment section below so we can have more shocks. And if you want to see more videos like this, 10 things that'll shock you about London, 5 things you'll love and hate about visiting England, all kinds of stuff like that, check us out on our website at waltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we...
All right. Hey, that was a really good video. I actually learned a bunch of things, so definitely enjoyed that. And I'm excited to hopefully visit at some point. Definitely a lot of content to be made when I do visit, and it would just be a good time. I mean, I've been looking at the UK for like over a year now, so gotta happen at some point, but we'll just see when it falls into place. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and that reaction. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and consider joining my Patreon. Guys, I just watched the first episode of Fawlty Towers. I absolutely loved it. That's up there, and we're going to be doing weekly reactions to that. Friday night dinner, I think, is what we're adding, and then we've already been doing The Office and Peep Show. So if you're interested in those reactions, consider joining. Link will be in the description, and I'll catch you all in the next video.